everybody to the Social Dig, the greatest underrated show on the World Wide Web. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and as always, we're going to be digging into the topics that keep you talking and the talk that keep you thinking. So come on in, keep your feet up, get an ice cold beverage or a warm beverage, and get ready to join the conversation. We are back on another late night call-in show right here on the Social Dig. We're going to be doing these way more often, definitely, and I definitely appreciate everybody coming on in for this late night conversation. This is done for you. We do this for you. Is the reason why we get up here and put on the show. I want to hear from you. There are a lot of people that jump up on stage, and we'll see who jumps on here tonight. I still need to put the link out there in the chat, which I will be doing here momentarily. But let me make sure that we go ahead and get our itinerary up, because there's a number that you can use to call the show. We promote this all the time, and that number is 856-843-3444. That's 856-THE-DIGG. If you're calling from outside the United States, dial 001-856-843-3444. Let's see here. Let me add myself to the stage. There I go. Yep, I'm here. I ain't went anywhere. Hopefully my audio stayed in as well. But yeah, this is the number here, 856-843-3444. But it's 856-THE-DIGG outside the United States, 001-856-843-3444 or 001-856-THE-DIGG. You know how we do on the call-in shows. This show is for you. This show is for the viewer out there. Call in, talk about whatever you want to talk about, as long as it's not politics, as long as it's not religion, as long as you're not cursing and you are sticking to the subject at hand, then I welcome you to the stage. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat. We can have, I think, up to 10 people on stage at one time. So definitely would love to see you guys come on up as I go ahead and welcome everyone into the building tonight. I got the keys to the building, and let me welcome everyone in. We got Magnus in the building saying, here, y'all. Appreciate you showing on up, Magnus. Deadfish Cheese Spread saying, what's up? Appreciate you coming on in, Deadfish. We got Mothman in the building, greeting carpoolers. We got Woo Riders DG. Can y'all dig it? Can you dig it? Emperor Penguin, heck yeah, let's do it, Mr. Rob G. Why not? Why not? Why not? Bomber was in the carpool. Thanks for coming in. Adam B in the building saying, I made it. We appreciate you coming on over to the late show. Who else do we have out here? Hillbilly Herb in the building. Appreciate you showing on up. We also have, let's see who else has come in. Who else has come on in? JSCO77 saying coffee BRB. Coffee BRB. I got you, JSCO77. We appreciate you coming on in. We got Adam B showing love for tonight with the first super chat, Canadian 20 for the cause. I appreciate you, Adam B. This is how things work. You know, you when you make a contribution like that, it goes to help further the channel, helps us raise the bar, put on a better product. So it is very much appreciated that you had gone and taken that step. That is awesome. I appreciate you for that. And Adam B just became a member. Do I have a button for that? Maybe I do. Let's welcome Adam B into the family. We do appreciate you becoming a member as well. And let's see here. So it sounded good. I didn't know if it would. Hillbilly Herb says, oh, wow, sweet background music mix. Yeah, that's the normal Social Dig intro. And so I'm glad it sounded cool. Appreciate you. Bomber coming in with jokes. Sweet Robbie Skates. Do I have one for her? This one's for Bomber. Yeah, that one's for Bomber. But I thank you for coming on in. I really, really do. Desiree White, appreciate you showing on up. We know that's Woo Riders DG, significant other right over there. We got Paramarv in the building. This is a great message. I like this. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the like button when you and it helps the show. It really, really does. It really does. And I'm victim of this myself. I go and watch shows. Sometimes I forget to hit the like. I'm into it so much that by the time it's over, I moved on to something else, and I'm like, man, I forgot to hit the like button. So I understand. I really do. But if we're in the moment, let's take a moment to go ahead and hit that. That would be freaking awesome. Appreciate it. Devish Cheese Spread says, I had it paused. I was wondering why it said 2 minutes for the past 5 minutes. Yep, there you go. Troubleshooting 101. Troubleshooting 101. Exactly what that is. Larry Schultz saying present. We do appreciate you, Larry, coming on in here as well. Let's see. Mel WD40 lubing up this show too. 2 lubes in one night. Mel is working overtime tonight. Give it up for Mel WD40 lubing up more than one show. That's rare. That's rare. Appreciate you coming on over, Mel, as well. Let's see. Let's see, what else do we have here? Just seeing if I missed anyone. Nope. Looks like we're good. Okay. So let me move some things out of the way because what I need to do now is put the link for the chat in the chat. And I'm going to do that right about now. Give me just a second. Do some small talk while we wait here. And yeah, so awesome show over there, Spaced Out Radio. There was an awesome show here tonight, too. If you missed the show here tonight, we talked about the new Corbell video that had come out. If you were unaware, he released a UFO video, Tic Tac UFO video from 2023. And I felt that was pretty exciting. I really do. I really feel that's pretty exciting. There are going to be people that say not so nice things about Jeremy Corbell. But as I say, don't focus on the person, focus on the deeds that they do, right? And I know regardless how you feel about Jeremy Corbell, you can point to times where he has come through in the clutch with the latest video. I'm still on the pyramid UFOs. They're trying to explain that away as Boca. I'm still not on the Boca train yet. I'm still saying that's an amazing video for what it was. For one, it showed that there were drones, regardless on what the shape was, that there's drones out there swarming Navy ships, fully equipped Navy ships that could take down almost anything. And these things are just doing what they want to do. That was shocking to me when that came out, to know that we're talking about out of the public eye, somewhere way off the coast of America in the pitch black night where you could get away with anything. And so they could have had full out war with these drones, but they decided not to do it. And it has to lean into a reason why. Why would they not have engaged those with no threat of affecting anyone else or anything else around? But they didn't do it. If they were adversarial, terrestrial adversaries, I think definitely something would have been done. But it's just so much evidence that leans into, and it's right in front of all of our faces, right? They think that they're not disclosing by not coming out and saying, hey, this is what it is. But it's all about when they do release statements, what they don't say or what they don't contest or what they don't try to explain. And as long as you can look at those things right there, you can walk away from every statement with a nugget or two. And that's what I mean when I talk about nuggets, because even if you felt like a particular hearing was a nothing burger or a particular announcement was a nothing burger, all that means is that it didn't meet your high level of expectation. But it doesn't mean that they didn't leave little nuggets within what was said or what wasn't said. And that's more of the approach that I think we should all look at, especially when dealing with the government, because there's really not going to be a time where they just come out and blatantly say something. You kind of have to look at what was said, what wasn't said, and using common sense and logic and weighing that on historical happenings, historical data, will allow you then to maybe answer some of the questions, or at least come up with some plausible responses to some of the questions that we have. right? So that's what that is. As I sitting here, okay, let me go ahead and do this here. I just don't want the dead air. So I'll try to talk through it. Let's see, we just copied that. Let me put this in the chat here. All right, let's give this a shot. Let's paste that. Then I have to go in here and pin the message. So give me just a moment. Almost there, guys. Almost there, guys. Give me just another moment while I pin this message to the live chat. Guys. Almost there, guys. Give me just another. There we go. Feedback loop from hell. Okay. Guys. Almost there, guys. Give me just another. There we go. Feedback loop from hell. Okay. All right. Done and done and done. I'll sit that there. And we'll continue on with the show. Yeah. So a lot of things I think you can get from what isn't said. As we navigate through this, we talked earlier about Skywatcher with Jake Barber. We talked about also, and we briefly talked about that because I actually have a show coming up where I'm going to cover more details in that. I kind of touched on it tonight on Spaced Out Radio. A few of the reasons why I felt that this Skywatcher thing, I don't think is something that you immediately shut down or call a psyop, right? People are quick to do that. I don't think that helps the conversation at all because I don't think you have enough information to know if it's true or not. You're simply making accusations at that point, and how are accusations going to move us closer to getting answers, right? I think that's one of the main things here. And it looks like we might have somebody who has joined us, our first guest for the night. Let me go in and bring him up. Habibim Jim. Jim, hi, how are you?
Hi, Rob. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And
Hello.
if you could
And you
turn
can.
the
Hi, Rob. Can you hear me?
oh, you're on a delay. Yeah, the YouTube down. If you could turn it down in the background a little bit because it's giving feedback. Yeah, the YouTube down. If you could turn it down in the background a little bit because it's giving feedback.
How's that?
All right,
I
that
can't
is
hear
good.
you
That is
now.
good.
Let
Can you hear me? Can you hear
me
me?
see now. What do we got? I've got. This is not StreamYard. I knew how to use StreamYard. I don't know what the heck's going on here, so I can't hear you.
Ah,
Oh golly, what's going on here? I got all kinds of buttons here.
it's pretty similar. It's pretty similar to StreamYard. As long as you have a microphone, headphone set, then you should be okay.
Can you hear me now, Rob?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Thumbs
Okay, I
up.
cannot hear you.
Okay, you got a set of headphones. Got some earphones.
Oh,
Or Jim, you can call in on the phone number as well. All right, phone line is open. Let me go ahead and make sure do not disturb is not activated here. All right, yep, phone line is open. Any of you can call the phone number once again, 856-843-3444. That's 856 the dig. Either way, phone is online and we will be answering calls as they come through. And can you hear me now, Jim? All right. Can't hear me? All right, let me know when you're ready, Jim, and I'll bring you up here. All right, guys. As we wait for Jim to get that ready, we still have room, a lot of room on stage for guests as well. I think we can do up to 10 here tonight. We also have the ability for you to call in online, and I will allow you to pick exactly what you want to talk about. What is this? All right, I'm gonna check the chat. Chat. Go ahead and pick the subject. Let's get it going. What do you want to hear? Yeah, it's 856-843-3444. That's 856 the dig. Either way. Yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? What do you want to talk about tonight? Any subject? Like I said, we got Jake Barber with the Skywatcher coming out. I think is a great thing as far as vetting the data that is captured and then being accessible to just regular people like you and me. I think is the most important part of that. That's what they claim is going to happen. That's what they claim they're going to do with this data. They're just more like we're not going to capture data and then be so willing or ready to show it that we're just going to immediately put it out there. And I understand that too. As exciting as the data might appear, you want to make sure that it isn't something that could be easily debunked because, as Jake Barber also stated, it's very true that a lot of the things that come out, a lot of the Corbell videos have been questioned almost immediately by skeptics. Like within the hour that the video comes out, they're already saying that it's not this and they've uncovered this or that. So Skywatcher, from what they are saying, they're attempting to avoid any of that and just make sure that anything that does come out has gone through all the paces, has been properly vetted so that they know when it's brought out to the public, once it goes through those 6 stages or steps they talked about, that it's ready to for peer review and for to be tested amongst others as well. We got Bim Jim back in the building. Jim, can you hear me now?
You hear me?
Okay. I can hear you as well and no feedback. So we're doing good here. So I got you on stage here. What's going on? What's been up with you?
Oh gosh, I I have a lot of news, a lot of new things going on over here, uh, and if you can remember everything I've said before, I'm in the position of Galileo. You remember Galileo had a telescope, and he wanted to get people to look in his telescope, and he went around saying, "Look in my telescope." He went to the Pope and the kings and everybody and said, "Have a look in my telescope, see what you see," right? But nobody would look in his telescope. Well, I'm in that situation now, and I'm thinking of contacting Linda Moulton Howe because she puts together a lot of information, and I think she would get it, and I think she would understand, and maybe through her, if I could get her attention through her, I could get into contact with larger numbers of people, because I have objective observation, as if I'm looking through a telescope. I have objective observations that are extremely relevant and very valuable, right? But I just get can't seem to get into contact with people who can help me out with this. If you know what I'm talking about. Are you still there, Rob?
Yeah, I'm here with you. I was going to ask you what type of day. I mean, is it obviously something you want to keep quiet until you've spoken to her about it, or
I have
and then
not. I have not yet contacted Linda Moulton Howe, but I think that should be my next move. I've been
yes,
on.
no. I'm asking, is the data that you want to get to Linda? Is it data that you can't really speak on yet, or until you speak to her?
Uh, I have spoken on this information. It's in my playlist on my YouTube channel. There's 5 videos there, and the information is there. What I have is portals, and I know the location of portals. I know how to go through them. I've been through them like about 20 times. So I'm like Galileo. I've looked through my telescope a lot. I know what's there, but I can't get anybody else to go and look too, right? I'm trying to get some researchers to go through these portals, and I know where they are and how to go through them and all that. I have that knowledge, and there's much to learn there. A tremendous amount to learn by going through these portals. It's you know, and I've also, in addition to going through the portals, I've also met aliens and communicated with them. They've taught me things, and I'm trying to get this information out. I think it's extremely valuable information. It might even lead into the next phase of theoretical physics for human beings, which is uh, part string theory, part has a lot to do with dark matter and all that sort of thing, right? And if people would go through the portals, they would see what I've seen, and they would understand dark matter as I understand dark matter, as the aliens have been trying to teach me. Right? Okay, that's a terrible sentence, but I'm trying to put it all into one statement there. But so like I am like Galileo, very much so. I'm just trying to
Okay.
get in touch with some people who will look and see what I've seen, and because it's very valuable new knowledge to humanity, even to be able to go through, go to a portal, go through it, and look around and see what you see. Right? Is tremendous knowledge. But I'm having trouble getting into contact with somebody who will go and look in the port, go through the portals as I have done. I found one other guy here. This is some new information that I have now. Is I found a young man here who's a mountain biker, and he has been through the portal with a friend of his, 2 guys. And by talking to this young man, it seems that he and his friend have done this more than once. They've gone through the portal, and but they don't know what the heck's going on. The young fellow I talked to, he's only about 20 years old, and he has never even heard of Skinwalker Ranch. He knows nothing about. He's where I was when I was that age. I didn't know anything about the paranormal or anything like that, eh? And so um, as I talked to him, he was afraid. He was showing fear. And this is like a 20-year-old young man, very tall, very healthy, mountain bike rider, and all this stuff, right? But when he talked about going through the portal, he looked terrified. He was just afraid, and he didn't want to talk anymore about it. And so I just let him go. I got the one piece of information, which is that he's been through them. He knows, right? But he's afraid. So now my next step, maybe here, what I could do here is I could go out and talk to more mountain bikers, because I mean there must be a lot of people have been through these experiences, but they're just afraid to talk about it or something, right? But I know there's got to be more people because they're right there. I mean, the portals are right there. So what we have here where I live is we have an area of land which is about 8 square miles. It's up in the mountains, and every time I have tried to go there, either in a pickup truck or a dirt bike or whatever, every time I've tried to go there, I go through a portal, and uh, and then I've camped on the other side of the portals, investigated it, done my own research, figured out how to get back, and kind of figured out how the portals work and all that sort of thing, right? And I've had experiences over there, and if I could, if we could put my information together with others, we could have a whole bunch of new knowledge, right? Brand new knowledge that's extremely valuable, and it has to do with the kind of the relationship between all the different factions of the paranormal, right? I connect ghosts with native spiritualism, with aliens, with uh, nearby parallel universes, timelines, all of that. I all of that connects together, right? The one thing that connects all of the paranormal is simply that it is all unknown to us
Yeah.
humans. It's unknown. That's what paranormal means. It simply means unknown. Uh, and so, anyway, this is what I've just been doing this evening. I listened to Linda Moulton Howe, and she gets so much stuff right. Like it's kind of as if we humans studying the paranormal, we've got a bunch of jigsaw puzzles on a big table, right? But unfortunately, somebody has dumped 10 jigsaw puzzle parts onto the same table. And it's very difficult to put together 10 jigsaw puzzle pictures when all the pieces are all mixed together in one big pile. You understand what we're trying to do here? This is a very
Right.
difficult problem to solve. I mean, and so I'm trying to figure out, well, I've got one of the pictures of the 10 jigsaw puzzles. I've got one of the pictures. That's how much information I have. And so I can really, I can be very helpful with my knowledge, but how do I get in touch with the people I need to talk to, right? That's what I'm dealing with today. Um, that and my failing health. So, but so yeah, that's what are you doing today? You were mentioning Corbell.
Yeah, I was mentioning Corbell, and we can get into that real quick. I just had a question for the portal because I definitely, if you're ready to take it to the next stage, obviously, I can do what I can to just reach out to people that may have a connection with Linda Moulton House. So I can do that for you. What I wanted to know was before we move on is and I'm saying, and I'll start by this because we've seen documentaries like Terror in the Sky, where Caroline Corey, who I had the pleasure of interviewing recently, she talks about almost like a tear in the sky, essentially a portal potentially. If they investigate it further, I think that's what they may find that it's exactly what that is. So we know that there are such things out there. So what I wanted to know is when you encounter one of these portals, or when this mountain biker does, for instance, is this something that you see visibly? Are you able to visibly see a portal, or do you just find yourself at some point in the portal and then maybe emerging from the portal on the other side? Is there anything that alerts you of that visually, or do you have any feeling or sensation that that's what you're doing, traveling through a portal, or how does that work?
Yes, to pretty much everything you said there, I agree. The first time I saw a portal with my own eyes, I was sitting on my dirt bike at the edge of a logging road up in the mountains. I'm sitting on my dirt bike and I'm looking at this thing on the side of the road, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. Now, this was 1983, and I didn't know much about paranormal at that time. But I'm sitting there looking at this thing at the side of the road, and I'm thinking, what the hell is that? Now, I was staring right at a portal. I just didn't know what it was, okay? And what I saw in the forest was a vertical flat wall. And that cannot be in the forest. There's nothing vertical or flat anywhere in the forest. Everything's, jumbled up with trees and bushes and all this stuff, right? And here's this vertical flat wall in the forest. I thought, well, what the hell is that? Now, and as I looked at it, I looked down, and this wall was about maybe 30 feet high and 20 feet wide, something like that. And I'm looking at this thing. I think, what the hell is that wall that I'm staring at with my eyes? And then I looked down to the bottom, and there was a big hole in it, which was big enough for me to ride my dirt bike through. I'm looking at this hole. Now, it was dark in the hole. I looked in it, and I could see a trail in there. And I thought, well, I'll just ride my dirt bike right into the hole. And I did. Now, a lot of people wouldn't do that, but it's my character that I see something like that, and I just go right into it, right? So I drove my dirt bike right into the hole. And what I did was I went through a portal and came into a tunnel, which was a completely different thing now. Now I was riding my dirt bike down a tunnel, and that tunnel stretched way off into the distance, and I just rode down the tunnel. And try to shorten this up. This is in my playlist. All this is described. But anyways, I drove down the tunnel and came out the other side. So a portal very often will be, you'll see a hole, you go into it, you see a tunnel, you go down the tunnel, you come out through another hole, and now you're in a different place. It's actually a nearby parallel universe. Okay. And I've done that and camped on the other side and then come back again, right? But so now, and then, like I say, I've been through portals at least 20 times. Got to be at least 20 times, because I count one time going through the portal and then one time coming back out again. That's 2 times, right? So now, some of the times that I've gone through portals, I've had a different experience, because this is very much connected to consciousness, right? It's a consciousness thing. It's kind of like you're taking a consciousness journey, and so the portal will look different to different people. It will look different at different times, because it's your consciousness that is you're kind of flying your consciousness through these things, right? In the daytime, fully awake. None of this is dreams or drugs or anything like that. I'm wide awake, and I'm going through these things. And many times I went through a portal and then camped on the other side for a few days and had some weird experiences. I met a few. I think I met an alien over there. One time I saw a ghost logging operation on the other side of the portal. Ghosts logging in the forest, if you can imagine that, and seeing that. That was the one thing I saw that really scared the hell out of me. I saw that on the other side of the portal, and I figured out that where I had gone is a place where the ghosts exist. It's kind of like not a nice place. I didn't want to linger there, so I got the hell out of there. And I got out of there by consciousness. I focused my consciousness on, I want to go home now. That's what gets you out of a portal. If you ever find yourself stuck on the other side of one, make an image of your home in your mind and head towards it. Go home. Have that thought. Go home, and then you will be transported back out of the portal, back to where you here, and your home, where you want to go back to. Right. This is there's another person who describes this is Chris Bledsoe. He's had a similar experience where he went through a portal with a group of people, and they all had a thought, gee, we want to go home now. And they came back out through the portal again. And all of a sudden they popped into a new location, and they were walking along a road headed home, right? That's how the consciousness works. It works by intent. Okay, you establish an intent in your mind, and presto, you go there, right? That's how consciousness works. But this takes some practice with consciousness and some experiences with consciousness so that you know your own consciousness, right? And many people do, like the young fellow who I met here who's been through these portals. Um, he just, you know, or they, the two of them, they just thought, well, we want to go home now, and they went home. Right? That's how they got out of the portal. That's how I got out of the portal. And at first, I didn't know how I was doing it, but after all, I realized I have this strong intent to do these things, and then that's how I get through the portal, and that's how I got through the portal the second time I went through the portal. Um, I had a very strong intent. I was going to look for Sasquatch, right? That's my intent, was to drive up this steep mountain road up into the mountains to a place where a friend of mine had seen a Sasquatch, and I wanted to go up there and camp and try to find a Sasquatch. So I was on a quest. I had an intent of going to the place that my friend had described to me, and I had this very strong intent, and that's how I got through the portal the second time, was that driving intent, right? And that's all to do with consciousness. Um, and this pops up in all the accounts I've consumed about going through portals, like Jerry Wills of, if anybody's heard of Jerry Wills' story, he went through a portal near Lake Titicaca in Peru, I believe it is. And he went through a portal there. And I've read his account a couple of times very carefully, every detail and so on. And I put together his knowledge with my knowledge, and to figure more of these things out. But if anybody wants to find um, Jerry Wills, his story is on the archives of Linda Moulton Howe, where he has been a guest on her show, and he's described this in great detail. And he does it very well because he doesn't get mixed up with why this happens or why that happens. He just says, this is what happened. Step one, step two, step three, then I did this, then I saw that, then I did this, then I saw that. That's the way to tell a story like that, so that the listener can get the raw data, right, and get the experience. Uh, Not the way I'm doing it right now, where I'm talking all over Hell's Half Acre. But this is why I've made my videos and put them in my playlist, because in those playlists, I describe exactly what happened, step by step by step. I saw this, I saw that, then he said this, then I thought that, in detail like that. And that's what people need, is raw data, and less of what I'm doing right now is speculating and conjecturing and mixing everything up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, but that's the way that's the way it goes. So, um, Rob, this is kind of what I've been doing lately. Is I've been working on this and trying to figure out, how can I get my knowledge out there to people. How can I do that? Because it's uh, not many people will understand what I'm saying. And I
Right.
fully understand that, because when I was younger, I had no idea what the heck was going on. First time I went through a portal, I had no idea. I was like, on that day, I was like about 33 years old, riding my dirt bike, went through a portal, came out again, went and told some of my friends what happened, and they laughed at me. And one friend told another friend. He came over. I told him the story. He laughed at me. They thought it was hilarious that I was telling them all these things that happened, right? And these were my dirt biking buddies, and they were all laughing at me for this story I was telling about going through a portal and all this stuff, right? So that kind of, because they laughed at me, I didn't tell very many people after that. For many years, I kept it all a secret and didn't tell anybody. And this is just normal human behavior. This is how we humans behave. Can't help that. But So yeah, um, yeah,
Well,
it's
I'll tell you this. I'm as far as portals go, because obviously you're gonna have some people who just happen to see the shows live and just stop by, and as soon as they come by, they hear somebody talking about portals, and so they're automatically like, "Oh, that's wild. That's crazy that you talk about portals." But I did point out that there's definitely been cases of where people have caught what appear to be portals. Like I said, tearing the sky. They used equipment, they looked at it through different spectrums, and there was a piece of the sky that appeared to be a hole in the actual sky. Now, that to a lot of people is going to be a portal. You have Bigfoot out there that people swear that they see, and that these things just disappear in thin air. A lot of people speculate that these things are stepping in and out of portals, which is why you don't find any evidence of them. Also, we've had things like the sort of recent, the whole Miami Mall alien thing, where people were saying that these 8, 9 foot tall things were stepping into our existence from something else somewhere else. So just those facts alone will at least should open your mind to there potentially being something very similar to portals that might be located around this planet. We just don't know. A wormhole is sort of like a portal as well. We theorize that wormholes may be possible for us to travel through at some point.
well,
So
I
with
don't.
just kind of putting that out there, because there are people who will hear that story and will just say it sounds ridiculous, right? So we have to at
Yes,
least give context to those people that there are cases of these sorts of things actually being out there.
yeah, I agree with 90% of what you just said, Rob, except for the word wormhole. Uh, I recommend people do not confuse the concept of wormhole with portal because they're not the same thing. They're just really not the same thing at all. Um, and people should not confuse the two because if you study up on wormholes, uh, they are a theoretical concept that comes out of studying general relativity, which is theoretical physics, right? And nobody's ever seen a wormhole or detected a wormhole with our best telescopes and all of that. The, Science has zero evidence of the existence of wormholes. It's only a theoretical concept based on a theory. So I wouldn't. People should not be distracted by this word or that term wormhole. That's not what we're talking about here. Don't be confused by that theoretical physics because it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something different, which is I call a wormhole. And as you say, also, Rob, much of what you said there is true. Is that uh, 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 I think Sasquatch can do what I do. I've been through wormholes. I think Sasquatch can also go through wormholes at will. I think they're better at it than I am. They have very large brains, and I'm sure can do a lot of things that they can do a lot of things. Like, for example, they do
Hmm.
mind speak and all that sort of thing. And the indigenous people did mind speak as well, And this is where I, I'm not impressed with academia. So just when a person just says they have a PhD or something, I don't necessarily believe everything they say, and I wouldn't. I think that's quite wrong to do that. That's actually a logic in. Sorry, it's a logic error to believe somebody because they have a more education than you do. You shouldn't do that.
Hmm.
That is wrong to do that. I've learned so much from the indigenous people going back to when I was a kid. I hung around with native kids, met their families, their mums and dads, and their grandmas and their sisters. I met all these people and went berry picking with them, and all that time I was learning tremendous things that I was unaware of because I was a kid. I didn't know what the heck was going on, but I learned stuff, and I added that knowledge to my knowledge of science, which I have a degree in engineering, so I added those two together, the indigenous knowledge plus the science, and I have no problem with combining these two things together. Whereas if you go to
Hmm.
academia, even I've gone to a lecture on anthropology at a local university, and I went to this lecture on anthropology, right? And this guy's talking away, blah blah blah, about his anthropology that they're teaching in university. And I had to go up to the professor, the speaker, afterwards and try to explain a few things to him that he does not understand because he has not lived with the native people. He's never actually, been hunting with a native guy. He's never been berry picking with families of native people. He's not done that. He's just read all his anthropology books, and he gets up in front of the class and he recites it. He doesn't. To me, he knows nothing at all. This guy, this anthropologist fellow, lecturer, and so that's how I have learned what I've learned is by experiencing these things. And I think academia is way off track, to tell you the truth. And by when I say academia, I mean all the university people with all their
Yeah.
degrees in anthropology and even theoretical physics. I'm not too impressed with that either. I think they're off base on a lot of things. So, but
Well, with that background that you have, and here's one of the things. Obviously, you get to Linda Moulton Howe or anyone that can take your data and do something with it. They're going to want you to do things like measurements and things of that nature to kind of bring to the table. Are you in a position where you're able to give some data, hand over some data with this as well, like electromagnetic fields or anything that shows that there's a variance in the area within a portal or around a portal?
well, I have not done that. When I went camping up in the mountains, went through the portals, uh, I would not even take a radio because I didn't want to know the news. I wanted to be kind of alone to meditate and read and write up in the mountains. It was kind of a meditation experience, and I didn't want any technology. I did take a camera sometimes, and a film camera, and I took some pictures, but I can only find one of those photographs that I took. I took a lot of photographs up there. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but with a film camera, you take 30 pictures or something. And now when I look through all my own photographs, I can only find one picture that I took on the other side of a portal. One. The rest of them, I can't find them. They're gone. I put them on the internet and they disappear, unfortunately. But I do have one photo that I pretty sure I took on the other side of of a portal. But the other pictures, they're gone, and even some of my paranormal pictures that I have tried to take have either vanished from my computer or they've been altered in my computer. And this happened right after I was online. I was talking to this young guy online, chatting with him, and I said, "Oh, I took 15 images of a ghost." And the guy says, "Oh, send that over to me. I want to have a look at it." So I sent him a copy, or I sent him the file of the image of this ghost, right? And then he sent it back to me, and he says, "Oh, that's just some guy sitting there. He had drawn a face on my in my he had altered my image file by putting a face on the ghost, you know." And I didn't much like him doing that. And now I find when I go on YouTube where I put these images of the ghost, um, I put them on there, and when I look at my video in my YouTube channel, uh, the the image is all blurry. It's just blurred, right? I don't know how it got blurred, but it is blurred, so you can't see the image of the ghost. And actually, this picture I took, it was a burst image, which is 15 frames of fairly high resolution, fairly, pretty good image files
Hmm.
of a ghost, right? And I got 15. of these image files. Now, some of them I've kept separate. Like when I get important images like that, I put them all over the place. I change them to a different type of image file, and I'll put them in a thumb drive or somewhere. And I store them in different places so nobody can get to them all and delete them all, right? Because I've seen this before. So, um, yeah, those ghost images. Now, if I put one on your channel today, I don't know how it's going to show up. I've got them here in my somewhere here in my computer, but it's a picture that I took, and afterwards I looked at the picture and I realized that guy was a ghost. That's why he wouldn't talk to me because you see I had walked up to this guy who I think is a ghost. I had walked right up to him and tried to have a conversation with him, and he wouldn't talk to me, right? And then I went to another friend of mine who was right there in the same place, and I said, "What's up with that guy over there? You know what? Why won't he talk to me?" And my friend Penny says back to me, she says, "Oh, he won't talk to anybody." So at least she was seeing him, and I was seeing him, but he was a ghost. And there he sat he was sitting in the sunshine on this day that we met up in the forest, and we all met up there, and there was like 40 people met in the forest for a day of celebration, and I took video of that day. But this one guy shows up, and he's a flippin' ghost, man. He's a ghost. He walks into this celebration and sits down in a chair in the sunshine and just sits there and won't talk to anybody. But that's because he was a flippin' ghost, man. And I figured it out after I got my pictures back, and I saw him sitting there, but he was covered by a black smudge over most of his head and upper body, and the only part you could see were his legs sticking out from the bottom of this black smudge. Right, that was the guy. That was the ghost. You know, and I got a picture of him. Right, actually 15 pictures of him because it was a burst image. And so I, I I don't know how all this happens, but hey, man, I got a picture of a ghost. I walked up to him and tried to talk to him. He wouldn't talk to me, but I understand that now better as I've explored this whole afterlife thing. And I get it, and I know where he is. He is a ghost. He's in something like purgatory or the void or something like that, right? And he's probably been a ghost. I reckon by the way he was dressed, I would say he's been a ghost for only a couple of years because he's wearing fairly modern work clothes, and he must have died at work in the forest, probably a logger, and now he wanders around up in the forest still dressed in his work clothes, but he doesn't know where he is, and people won't talk to him, and he doesn't need to eat or sleep or anything, and he just wanders through the forest, and that's where that particular ghost or what would you call him, an entity is, and he probably doesn't even know that he's dead, which is entirely possible. I met one ghost, the first ghost I met. I established conversation with him, and I said, "Do you know you are dead?" That's one thing you can ask a ghost if you meet one. Ask them. Your first question should be, if you establish communication with a ghost, your first question should be, "Do you know you are dead?" Because often they don't know, right? And
Jim, they were asking you if can you tell us about what you saw on the other side of the portal? Were you in the woods, city, woods, etc.?
yes, this is all up in the forest. It's 8 square miles of land, which I can only
I think
access. It is up
I
in the
think they're
mountains and the forest, yes.
I think they're asking what did you see on the other side of the portal? Like were you still in the woods or were you in the
Yes,
city? Okay.
I was still in the woods. It looked very much as you would expect it to look, like being up in the mountains with the forests and the evidence of logging. And I've seen lakes up there, and yeah, it's in the camping in the forest is what I did for 30 years. I would just go up in the mountains and camp, right? For 2 months, for 1 month each summer, I would go up in the mountains and just live up there, right? And it looks like that. But every time I went up there, I would find a different road system and a different lake and other things that I didn't see before, right? So it kept changing. As I went up through the portals, I would arrive in a different place. It was still the forest and the mountains and all that, but it was different, different road systems. And that's what the young man said to me. The young man I mentioned earlier, the 20-year-old mountain biker, that's what he said to me. He says, every time we go over there, we find a different road system. That's when I knew he'd been through the portals, because that's what you see. You see a road, you go down the road, and it's a different road from the last time you were there. And you got to think, well, what the heck is going on here? Well, that's what I've been researching since 1983 until today. I've researched this and figure out what the heck is going on over there. Well, it's portals. That's what it is. And what I have figured out, more that I figured out about portals, um, what I have figured out about the portals is that there seems to be about 6 nearby parallel universes, 6 of them, because sometimes I'd go through a portal and I'd find the same thing I found before. And sometimes it was different, sometimes it was the same. And in total, I found 6 uh, alternate universes that I can visit through the portal. Okay, 6 of them, just that many, and no more, right? And I've visited some of them 5 times, and another one I visited only once. Another one, some of them I only visited once, and some I visited up to 3 or 4 or 5 times. I don't know, because I didn't count them all. I didn't record all that in a journal, which I should have done. Unfortunately, I didn't record it all. But I do have a good memory, though. And, my memory's better than average anyway. But yes. Now, what was the question? Did you see any discernible differences on this side? Yeah, on the other side of the portal. Well, when I would go over there and spend some time over there, I never stayed longer than about 4 days, because it was kind of creepy over there, because things, all kinds of little things were different, you know, and it's just it's a nearby parallel universe that is very much like this one, but there are all these little differences, right? And like, for example, one time I met the a type of alien over there. He's called the Predator. I met that guy on the other side of a portal. Now, he must have been surprised as hell to see me over there, because he probably does not know that humans can go interdimensionally. And so it surprised the hell out of him to see me. So he just stood there and watched me. And he's standing there at the edge of my camp. So I was up there, parked my camper truck at the end of a road, and I set up my camp there, and I lived there for a few days, and I went out for a walk, and I came back, and this predator was standing at the edge of my camp watching me. And he must have been quite surprised to see a human being there, because I'm not supposed to be there, right? On the other side of a portal. And he's standing there watching me, right? And I looked at him and I thought, what the hell is that? Because he uses a kind of cloaking. He's not entirely visible to humans. And many people have seen this predator guy. Anyway, so I'm looking at him. I'm thinking, what the hell is that? And I stepped right up to him with my hiking stick, and I poked him in the shin with my hiking stick, right? Just thinking, what is this? I was trying to figure out what I was looking at. I thought it was a couple of squirrels or something shaking the bushes, is what I thought it was. So I walked up with my hiking stick, and I poked my hiking stick into the bushes. And actually, I poked this guy in the shin. And he's what we call a predator, also called the Shimmer Man, also called the Invisible Sasquatch. And here he's standing there watching me, and he's as curious as I am. He's the predator fellow. He's an intelligent alien being uh, with more technology than we have, but he's not super intelligent like the tall whites or something like that. He's very much similar to humans, and in that he's using his technology to go out into the universe and alternate universes and studying, and he's interested in the human species. So he comes here and observes us, but he follows a rule that he will never harm a human. And this is I read like 30 accounts of this creature, this alien I call him, but in about 30 accounts, he never harmed anybody. He won't harm anybody. He'll run away from a person if, like he did in my case, after I poked him with my stick, he ran away from me because he didn't want to hurt me. He's the size and shape of a Sasquatch, and very powerful. He can run up a very steep slope. Well, he also has cloaking technology, and he also has anti-gravity technology when he wants to use it. And he just comes here to watch humans. That's all he's doing, right? And he won't hurt anybody. So a lot of people are afraid of him. If they meet him, they're terrified and they run away. You don't want to do that, because if you run away, you could hurt yourself by running off a cliff or something. So don't run away from him, and he won't hurt you. Just I tried to communicate with him when I encountered him. I did try to communicate with him, but he wouldn't communicate, and he ran away from me very fast. He can run uphill at tremendous speed, and he can float up in through the trees. He has been seen floating among the branches of trees. He's very often seen that way. In my case, he was standing on the ground, but he ran up a very steep hill through these trees again. He always likes to hang around trees, run through trees, and sit up in trees and hide behind trees and stuff like that. And this is why he's also called the invisible Sasquatch. But he's not the Sasquatch, though. I don't think so at all. I don't think he is that. He's some variation, perhaps, of a Sasquatch, but he's actually an alien who's appears to be studying humans, and that's why he watches us. And that's all he was doing in my case. He was just standing there watching me, and he thought I couldn't see him, but I did. I could see him, which surprised the hell out of him, because I walked right up to him and poked him with my stick. And it's quite a comical thing, actually. A lot of people are terrified, but I don't have that response. I'm more curious than I am afraid. So that's why I saw something, I didn't know what it was. I walked right up to it and poked it with my hiking stick, and it comes out as a funny story to me. Anyway, I think it's quite amusing. Whereas other people would be terrified and they would run away. And I don't I don't do that. That's not my way of dealing with the unknown. I don't just run away screaming when I see the unknown. I don't do that. I look at it and think, oh, what's that? I gotta, you know, I've done this in so many cases that maybe that's why I've had so many experiences, because I'm not, well, fear is not my main emotion, right? My fear doesn't take over my mind. So, and that comes from meditating, is why I recommend that people meditate. Anyway,
That that is awesome. Bomber is also asking you to if you have any other experiences that you were going to share.
oh gosh. Well, when I try to add up all my paranormal experiences since I was about 20 years old, was when I started having paranormal experiences. When I try to add them all up, there's about one a year, one good one a year. And then there are other cases where something happens and I'm not sure if it's paranormal or not. And then there's other cases where I've had paranormal experiences that are just crazy weird, where I'm pulled right in by something, and just, and uh, none of these are dreams. Okay, I have not yet mentioned a single dream, and I won't. For this call in, I will not mention any of my dreams or refer to any of them. these are all daytime experiences where, for example, aliens just walk right up to me in the daytime, and engage me in conversation or something, right? Except they're 8 feet tall, their hands are a foot long with four fingers. Otherwise, it's a normal day for me, right? They just walk up to me and talk to me. And some of these experiences are in my playlist on my YouTube page if anybody wants to watch them. Now, I had another experience. I don't know if I should tell this one. Um, this is one that I know was a tremendously bizarre experience, and but when I try to tell it to people, they don't get it, unfortunately. But what it was is I had a visit from the dark-eyed kids, or the black-eyed kids, BEKs, black-eyed kids. I had a visit from these entities. They are aliens. They are not children as they appear to be. They are not children, but they appear to us as children because they come here to play tricks on us and to test us. And that's what they did with me. They tested me, right? And that's what the black-eyed kids is all about. It's a kind of alien who comes here and tests humans, tests them to see what a human is going to do, right? So that's what they did to me as well. Yeah, they I was just having a normal day where I was house sitting for a friend of mine. A friend of mine was taking his family and flying off for their summer holidays, and they wanted me to live in their house for 2 weeks when they were gone. So uh, it was a very nice little house, and I brought a really good book to read. I had this book that I've been thinking about, and I started reading. It was a tremendous history book. Oh, beautiful, big hardcover history book, right? And I very much enjoyed reading it. So I brought this book with me to this house sitting job. And on the first morning, I got some chores done, and it was like 9:30 in the morning on a beautiful summer day. And I had this book to read, and I made myself a cup of coffee, and I got an ashtray and some smokes. And I sat down in the most comfortable chair, and I opened the doors so I get a breeze blowing through the house, and I could sit and read for hours and really enjoy it. And that's what I was thinking about that morning. So I sat down in this big chair, and I opened up the book. But when I opened the book in front of me, I got sucked into the book. I was pulled by my face right into the book. Now that's paranormal as hell, right? And it did scare me a little bit. And I was pulled into the book by the face, and I found myself inside this book, which was like being inside a cylinder, floating inside a cylinder, and around me on the walls of the cylinder was the whole damn book, and it was turning and moving. Everything was moving in this cylinder, and the book itself was moving around me, and I could read it, and uh, and I thought, this is too weird for me. I want to get the heck out of here. So what I did was I pulled myself back out of the book. I willed myself to go back up, face first up, out of the book, because I wanted to be back where I was, right? Again, it's this idea of taking your consciousness home and deliberately having that control where you can think, okay, I want to take my consciousness home again. I want to go back to, I don't want to be in this really weird place. I'm going to pull my consciousness back. So then I managed to pull myself out of the book, and I was sitting in the chair again, and I had closed the book. I snapped it shut because I didn't, I was a little bit afraid of that experience. So I looked around, and I was back where I was. I was sitting in a chair in this house, and the doors were open, and it was a nice sunny morning, and I'm looking around, and everything seems normal again, and I'm thinking, holy cow, what just happened to me? That was really peculiar. That was a strange experience. But being the adventurous guy I am, I thought, I'm going to try that again. So I thought to myself, I'm going to open up the book and look into it and just try to read the book normally, which is all I wanted to do, right? And so I did. I opened the book again, but as soon as I opened it, I was being pulled into it again. So I pulled myself out and slammed the book shut. And I thought, okay, this is too weird for me. I'm not going to do this. And it was just a little bit too strange for me. I, when I think back on that time myself, I realized that I should have gone inside the book and read the whole book and come out again. And that's what these aliens were offering me, this ability to read a book by just going into it, taking my consciousness right into the book, reading in the entire book in maybe a few minutes, and then popping back out again. But I wasn't ready to learn that lesson. Okay, it was too much for me. So anyway, so I snapped the book shut, and I'm sitting there in this chair, and it's a normal morning, and then I hear this very loud boom, which it was like a boot, a heavy work boot hitting a door. It was a very loud boom. It's like boom, right? And I looked down the hallway, and the front door was open, and it was a big featured door, and I knew that door rung like a bell, and that was the sound I heard, was just as if a work boot had been thrown against that that door. So then I thought, okay, something weird's going on here. This is very strange. Then I heard some voices. I'm sitting in this chair and I hear children's voices laughing and giggling, and I thought, what the heck is going on here? So I get up out of the chair and I go over to a window. I look out the window and I see these three kids in the laneway, and from that point, they were about 35 feet away from me, and I'm watching these three kids in the lane out the window, and they're playing. And they appeared to be three siblings because they all look the same, right? And but they looked weird. They were all dressed in all black. They all had long black hair, and they were kind of. There was three kids, and the tallest one was a boy, taller than me. He appeared to be about 14 years old, but he was like 6 foot at least. And he was tall and skinny, all dressed in black with a big black cape on. Okay, now you don't see this. This is very unusual. And then there was his sister was there, and she was wearing all black, and she had her black hair combed right down over her face, so I couldn't see her face. And she was uh, goofing around. They were roughhousing in the middle of the lane, and there was a shorter one who appeared to be a boy about 8 years old, and he was trying to climb onto the back of the tall guy, the older boy. So the smallest one was climbing on the back of the older one, and then the sister was. They were all laughing and giggling, and she was pushing the other ones and pushing them, and they were all trying to, they were roughhousing in the middle of the lane there. But the weird thing was they were all dressed in all black. They all had long black hair combed down over their faces. And I'm looking out the window at this scene, and I'm thinking, okay, this is very, very strange. This is not normal. And then the girl, as if she read my mind, the young girl, she turned her face right towards me and looked straight at me. And her hair, black hair, split open, and I saw this one black eye. Okay, her hair split open. She didn't. It just separated, parted. Her her black hair parted, so I could see her eye. And what I saw was one big black eye. And she's looking right into my eye, right into my soul, like we were connected telepathically, right? Totally. Because she heard what I was thinking. She heard that I was looking at her and thinking, what is that? And she turns her face right to me, splits her hair, and shows me her black eye. So I'm thinking, okay, this is getting too weird. And I took off, walking quickly. And I was going to walk right out there, walk up to them and say, what the hell are you doing? Who are you and what are you doing? Right? I was just curious. So I kind of ran out the front door and straight towards them, and they were gone. They vanished, disappeared. you know, and
Crazy.
They just vanished, right? As the black-eyed kids do. They just vanish very often. So I ran towards them, and they went poof, and they were gone. And when they disappeared, everything came back to normal. Like I heard the normal sound again. And this is a transition that many people have felt, where they've gone through a transition from the paranormal state into the normal state. And that's what I felt like. I went from the paranormal state into just normalness again, where I could hear all the noises. Everything was normal again. And I walked out into the middle of the lane where they had been playing, and I looked up and down the lane, and everything was normal, and there was not a person anywhere, no human to be seen anywhere. I couldn't hear anybody, I couldn't see anybody, and everything was normal again, right? So that was my experience with the black-eyed kids. And I think what happened there, the to interpret all of that and to speculate and interpret it all, I believe that the black-eyed kids are a kind of alien, and they come to Earth to test humans, and they are studying humans again. And I find this with all the aliens. The way I interpret it is they're here studying us. They are interested in humans, and they come here and they test us, and do all kinds of things with us. Sometimes even take us up in spaceships and do medical experiments on us. This is how I speculate to put it all together. And that's what these black-eyed kids were doing. They were just testing me to see if I had the ability to go into a book and read the book, rather than slowly reading every word as we humans do. They wanted to see if I could take my consciousness into a book and experience the entire book in a short period of time, which some humans can do. By the way, I'll just mention this: there are people who can do that, and they tested me to see if I could do that, but I chickened out. They offered me this learning opportunity, but I chickened out, and that's how I interpret and put all of that together. That's what happened that day. Is some alien showed up, tried to teach me something which I was incapable of learning, and then they buggered off, right? Took off, as they do. They just vanish at will, And so that's my speculation.
That is awesome. That is awesome. We got to give a shout out for that and appreciate you sharing your stories here. I did have something that Overlander BC was asking me a little earlier in the show. If he's still out there, I can answer this for you. Said Rob, aliens walk among us in quotation marks. Have you ever came across evidence of this that made you take notice? And I think you might be referring to one of the shows that I labeled Aliens Walk Among Us. And yeah, I mean there's something that I always show on this show that really makes me feel like we potentially could have recorded an alien walking around on camera. As bananas as this sounds, as this seems, and you would think if you're looking into this like I am, and I actually did a lot of research on this video, just trying to find times when it may have been debunked. Couldn't find any actual videos that debunk this video. Anyone who has actually looked at the video has said that the video is real. They just are trying to describe the alien that we see in the video as a child. And you can, if you know what I'm talking about here, you know exactly the video that I'm about to show you here. So this would be the answer to that, Overlander BC. If there was anything out there, this is what I'll say. This is the video that for me allows me to come to the conclusion that aliens do walk on this planet. And this is outside of anyone else's testimony. But let me go ahead and bring this up here. See if I can add this to the show on the fly. And okay. All right, you guys have definitely seen this before. I know you have. But this is what makes me feel this way. Let's take a look. Can you guys hear that? Can you hear that, Jim? All right, we're not going to use that one. I'll use a different one. The volume seems to be pretty low on that.
Harry Potter movies.
Okay, it wasn't showing. Give me 1 second here.
Another theory? It's a skinny kid wearing underwear on his head.
It's a little creepy to be in the driveway after watching this video. We're here right now.
Vivian Gomez owns the house where the video was shot. And this is Bobby, her 9-year-old son. He's about the same height as the creature in the video. So, could Bobby be Dobby?
Bobby, was that you in the video?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Definitely.
He has an alibi, his mom. They say they were inside the house watching TV when the creature chicken danced down the driveway at
All right,
9
let me
p.m.
play
at
this
night.
again. I don't think you
Still,
guys saw
I
the
was
whole
skeptical.
thing.
You sure you don't dance with underwear on your head down the driveway at night?
I'm sure.
Our number one suspect, creepy video that freaked everyone out.
I'm honestly just kind of scared.
The creature was captured back in June on a motion sensor camera outside a home in La Junta, Colorado. Definitely not human, wrote one mystified observer. Lots of people think it looked like Dobby, the beloved elf from the Harry Potter movies.
Dobby is free.
Another theory? It's a skinny kid wearing underwear on his head.
It's a little creepy to be. But we're here right now.
Vivian Gomez owns the house where the video was shot. And this is Bobby, her 9-year-old son. He's about the same height as the creature in the video. So, could Bobby be Dobby?
Bobby, was that you in the video?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Definitely.
He has an alibi, his mom. They say they were inside the house watching TV when the creature chicken danced down the driveway at 9 p.m. at night. Still, I was skeptical.
You sure you don't dance with underwear on your head down the driveway at night?
I'm sure.
Our number one suspect is pointing the finger at his friend Montana, the proverbial girl next door.
She does it better.
No way it was me, says Montana.
Who do you think it is?
Bobby with underwear on his head.
You think it's Bobby?
There's only one way to settle this.
I have some underwear to put on your head. Shall we?
Sure.
All right, let's see it.
Here's Bobby doing the chicken dance on a night vision camera. And here he is, side by side with the creature. So, was it Bobby?
Bobby, what do you say?
I am not the one in the video.
I believe that kid. I believe that that kid is not the thing in the video. I totally believe him, and I don't think that's the kid.
Well, I've watched all that video, all the what you showed there. I've investigated that, and I'm not sure, but I'm tending towards it's a trick. Okay, I'm tending in that direction. Kids do things like that, you know, and so uh, if I accept something as evidence, I've got to be at least 95% sure, preferably 99% sure. So anytime I look at any evidence, I've got to have a high degree of certainty, like 95% at least. And in that video, no, I'm not even, I'm 50-50. So I kicked that out. That's not evidence to me. It's funny, but, you know, whatever. Kids play tricks, you know, whatever.
There's no. If you've researched that video the way that I have, I've taken that video frame by frame, literally frame by frame, and there are way too many frames that don't line up with the proportions of a human. So you have in some of the frames you'll see an arm that extends down past the crotch area. There isn't a human that has that. There's frames where the thing appears to be skin and bones. If that was a kid, the child's what do you call that, Department of Child Services, that would be the first call to be made to that home if that kid was literally that skinny. There are a lot of things in that video, if you break it down frame by frame, that just don't line up with a human kid. And I think once you start going down that list where you can say, okay, this is definitely a kid, this is not a kid in this frame, it's not a kid in this frame. And if you go down the checklist, I think you'll find that you have more on the this can't be a kid than versus this has to be a kid. I think it's definitely more than 55, 45. I say it's more like, I'd have to say, once you break it down and really look through it, I think you're going to come to a 85-15 conclusion by the end of it. And I'm just saying that because I've broken it down frame by frame. I've went ahead and went through all the debunking videos. All of the debunkers definitely agreed that it was a real video, but they just stated that it was the kid with underwear on his head, right? And I know that's the conclusion you've come to, Jim, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's another video. The Los Angeles, is it Las Vegas backyard aliens. You know that those videos. This family claims that aliens landed in their backyard and got out of their spaceship, and they were some of the family actually saw the aliens, and they were like really tall and skinny. And you know the story I'm talking about, the Las Vegas backyard aliens.
Oh yes, yes,
And
definitely.
I studied those videos very carefully because they're really high resolution and everything. And I spent a lot of time on those videos, and I found the best version of those videos. And I looked all around the frame, everything going on there, Ray, and I saw about 6 frames of a cloaked tall white, I believe is what it is. It's cloaked, and nobody else mentioned those frames. But this cloaked, this tall white, who made himself appear all black because it was nighttime. Night, he put on that all black cloak, was walking behind the fence. Now, the fence was lit up really bright, very high resolution, in focus and everything. But behind the fence at the top, you see this black blob moving along, and then you see fingers come through the fence lower down. In a few frames, you see actual fingers coming through the gaps in the fence. And there are only a few frames of this, but that I take as high quality information. I examined every frame of that, and that was I'm 95% sure that was a cloaked tall white walking behind that fence and sticking his fingers through the fence, but you could see his head above the fence, but he was cloaked in all black like your shadow man. The shadow man is uses a similar type of cloaking. I think what we call a shadow man is actually just a kind of cloaking. It is used
Yeah.
by aliens, ghosts, and various others. And my photograph, um, which I have right here on my laptop here, I have that image ready right now. If I can add it to this show, everybody can see it. Um,
I don't know this new program. I would assume you can do that. I don't know if
okay,
you can
okay.
actually or not.
Share media. It says.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me see now. I gotta move stuff around here a little bit. I'm moving stuff around. Excuse me for a minute. I'm doing my technical job here. I've gotta change my windows here. Okay, now let me see. I'm moving windows around here.
Okay.
So hang on. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's 2 of them. Okay. Okay, I got two of them.
Yeah, and then once you show the shadow person photos, then I want to go back to that Las Vegas alien story.
Share. I'm sharing. Hang on. Desktop. Darn it. Okay. I'm looking for. Where is it here? Shh. Where is it? Paranormal. Oh, there it is. Okay, now I've got it. Ah, there's one right there. Okay. Share media.
All right. Once I see it, I'll bring it up.
Oh, there it
All
is.
right.
Now you got it. You see it there?
Yes. Let me go ahead and bring that full screen.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay. So can you see my pointer? On the
No.
right hand side of the image, you see a black blob splotch. And on the left hand side
Yes.
of the
Definitely.
image,
Definitely.
you on the left hand side of the image, you see a woman standing there.
Yes.
That's my friend Penny. She organized this get together in the forest. You can see the forest in the background. Now, and this guy showed up, the guy under the black blob there. He showed up at this kind of a party in the daytime in the forest. And this is all on a video on my YouTube page. But you see the black blob on the right hand side. Well, that's not what I saw with my eyes. That just showed up in the image later when I looked at it. But I took 15 frames of this guy sitting over there under a black blob. And you can even see his knee sticking out the bottom. If you have the image file, you can blow it up and examine it closely. It's pretty high resolution. You can see the guy's body from the knee down, or from the center of the thigh down. You can see his leg there, but his body and head are covered by a black blob. I didn't add that black blob. I did not add that, but there he is
Wow.
sitting there. That's one. That's an image I got, and I believe that's a ghost sitting there because I was right there. I mean, I was up there walking back and forth earlier, and I was talking to Penny, and I went over to Penny and I said, "Who's that guy sitting there?" The guy under the black blob. I pointed at him. I said to Penny, "Who's that guy?" She looked over there. She kind of rolled her eyes and she says, "Oh, he won't talk to you," she said to me. That's all she said. And
Wow.
I wish I had, she knew him. She had seen him before. And there was like about 40 people there, a lot of people there. And I knew half of them, but I didn't know this guy. So I was going around meeting people I didn't know. But that guy, he wouldn't talk to me. So I went over to Penny. I said, "Who's that guy?" She says, she looks at him, but she kind of rolled her eyes around like, and she says, "Oh, he won't talk to you." Right. So this is some guy who would show up from time to time, but wouldn't talk to anybody. And that's exactly how that place was. That place in the forest. It was a village of people living in the forest up there, right? And Penny was kind of like the queen of that forest community, and her husband and boyfriend were kind of like the queen and king of that little community up there where I used to go visit all the time. And that's where I gave my lectures on the indigenous knowledge. And Penny called me a knowledge keeper or storyteller or knowledge keeper. She called me that. And she introduced me to give my talks, my lectures on indigenous knowledge. And that's what that was all about. But anyway, this guy shows up, right? And just sits there in a chair and won't talk to anybody. And then when I take pictures of him, he turns up as a black blob. So he's cloaked himself, or something is cloaking him, and that's what you see, a black blob. That's what that type of cloaking is, I believe, and I think that's where the shadow man comes from as well. So you had a shadow man in your house, and I think that's could be a ghost. Could very well be a ghost. Could even be an alien visiting you in your home. I do not know, But that's my explanation or my interpretation of the shadow man phenomenon that so many people have seen, and I actually have a photo of it. I have 15
Yeah,
photos.
that's all.
So
Hey, that's an awesome photo as well. Let's go ahead and give a round of applause. Definitely, something to be looking into. Now, I wanted to get back to as well the you were talking about the Las Vegas aliens and the video that you looked over. So I had done a similar analysis, and here's the thing: I don't know, and it may do you have the source video potentially? Do you know, like the one that hasn't been tampered with at all?
yeah, that's the one I found out online because I looked at like a bunch of different versions of it. Some of them had been edited and all this, but I found the best unedited version of that in highest resolution. I put it up on my big screen here. I got a big screen,
So,
1080p and all that. Put it up there, and I'm looking very closely at the video, and I slow it down and run it slowly. That's how I found that evidence there, and it's only like I say, I think it's 6 frames of greatest interest. Now, as you're watching that video, you hear a guy talking, and he says, "Oh, look over in the dark there. There's 2 eyes, one eye, then 2 eyes of an alien back in one of the machines." You know,
yes.
the young man, he says there's a couple of aliens have climbed up into that machine over there, and we can see them, and they're playing around inside the cab of this front end loader. And now that evidence, though, that he claims is the eyes of the alien, well, that's only a few pixels. And I didn't. I mean, I believe what the young man's saying about what he's seeing there, and I believe that's true. That the aliens went over and climbed up into the cab of that machine. I think all of that happened, but I don't think the evidence is there in the video very good. It's only a few pixels, but I do believe what the young man says there is that because if those are tall whites, that's what they do. In my presence, a tall white climbed into a pickup truck and drove it away. And it was quite funny to see him do that because he's 8 feet tall and he had to fold up his arms and legs just to fit into the cab of the pickup. But he was having a good time. He was smiling the whole time and having fun. And he knew I was watching him because he just come over to me and we'd had a little conversation. And then he says, well, he had to go, and he goes back and gets in his pickup truck and drives away. But I watched him get into the pickup truck, and he had to scrunch his neck, scrunch his spine down and pull his knees up, which I saw through the back window of the pickup truck. He's pulling his knees right up almost to the ceiling inside the pickup truck, and then putting them back down again so he can get one foot on the gas pedal, and he's scrunching his spine down because he's 8 feet tall. He's going to drive a pickup truck, and he's got to fold up his body to get in there. And the whole time he was smiling. And then once he got himself in there, he knows bloody well that I'm watching him because he can read my mind in real time, right? He knows I'm watching him. He knows I'm amused, and he turns around with a big smile, smiles at me like, "See you later, buddy." And he drives off with this pickup truck. And this is the same. I believe these aliens in the backyard in Las Vegas were that same type, the tall whites, because they do.
So,
That's exactly what they do. They go around
so
visit people, and they play tricks on people, and they like to drive our machines. And those were the tall whites. I figured that's, and
all
I'm
right. Well, look at this, and next time you see your video, next time you view your video, look for this specifically in that video, and then get back to me and let me know if this is what you saw. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. This was out right after the incident took place, and this was something that was pointed out in this video. Now, if Jim can go to his video, locate the same point in the video, do you have the ability to zoom in on your video, Jim?
not unless no, I can't. No, I can't do that. I can
Okay.
only take a screen print and then I can blow the screen print up or do
Okay,
whatever.
that might work. Okay, take a look at this here. This is a video I put together way back, and this is what it is.
I'm not seeing a video.
Yeah, it should play right after this.
Okay, if I ask you to pause, can you pause it?
Now, this is the actual footage that was uploaded to
Yeah.
TikTok
Okay, there's the
with
fence.
the aliens in the yard. I'm going to let you guys watch the original, and then I will show you the version I processed highlighting the beings.
Okay, that's very high quality. Oh, it's got the white rectangle in it. But if you can watch the top of the fence over to the right. Something moving.
Notice how the family is fully armed. He has a gun in his hand, ready to shoot. That is how scared they are.
There. Watch the top of the fence. Slow it down. Watch the top of the fence. And then further down the fence.
Okay,
He
look at this
literally
part.
just said, "Oh my God, it has giant eyes and a big mouth."
Now look at this. Inside the forklift, which is where the kid said it was to begin with in the phone call. But look inside, watch inside the forklift, and watch what gets pointed out.
Yeah.
Now keep watching. You'll get some. We're gonna zoom in here soon, and you'll see some things in there.
If you pay close attention, you can actually see the beings in the tractor, blinking and looking at the family. I'll actually highlight it in the processed video. Now, this is the best that I could do with the video I received.
Look at where I'm pointing to. That bright spot. Watch it blink.
As you can see here, I circled one of the creatures. The other one is standing right behind him. Don't worry, I've also enhanced some images from these stills so that you can get a better look at what we're seeing here. Circled is a creature in the tractor, and now I'm going to highlight the one right behind him. Look at this. Look at its big eyes. What's more concerning is this update I'm going to add next. The entire family has now gone missing. Story as of right now, I'm going to leave you guys with my filtered video to see if you guys can see it again now that you know what you're looking for. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure that you like and subscribe for more UFOs.
Talallo, dile che a casa non prendi. Vieni ciò, Giuseppe Cucciarico si adalo. Vaya, me dijo completico. Cotelo que acá, dile que acá callale, a yo muy pelón, sí, pelón, varón pelón. Y ya los que a dos dijeron de concha, que la de que chupaba.
All right, and I'll back off of that one for a second. Excuse me. That alien obviously, if you go to your video, Jim, and you see that, look for that part of the video. See, because I looked at other videos and I still saw the thing in there. I just couldn't zoom in on it. So you go look at another video, just a random one offline, and see if you see that in there. Because for one, there's a couple things with that. One is that the one thing is that the kid described tall beings with big bright eyes. If you go back, and I think I have the original report here, where on the 911 call they're describing them as big bright eyes. He said bright, and so you see these eyes glowing in the dark, essentially in the forklift where he said they were, and not only that, but in the video when they're walking through the gate, they never look to the right ever. They look towards the forklift. That's the direction they're looking in when they run back and with their guns, holding their guns. They were looking in the area of the forklift. So I'm like, okay, they saw those things in the forklift, and that's the whole angle that they're coming from. That's why other people say the gate and the this and that. I've seen videos where you could see something being there, but that's not what they saw, because they never once looked to the right. They looked to the forklift, and clearly there's something in that forklift that has blinking eyes. And you'd have to assume that if aliens have eyeballs, they probably have eyelids too that blink. So that's not far off to say. The description lines up with his description of these things being 10 feet tall and big bright eyes. So there's a lot there to say that if this video is authentic, then this also depicts extraterrestrials standing right here on Earth.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree with what the family is saying there. I think that's all true. I mean, they're looking right at it and talking about what they're seeing, and I believe it, what they're saying there. I totally believe it. But for video evidence, I don't see much where you're looking in that video, which is
you didn't see the eye. You didn't see the eye.
Well, I can see some pixels, which can be some bright pixels, which can be interpreted as eyes, but I don't actually see an alien there so much. But I believe they see it. Yes, absolutely. I believe every word that the family is speaking there, because they're looking right at it. And, I mean, that's true, man. That's truth. I take the words of the experiencer as my best evidence. That's most of my evidence is in that form, and not so much in pictures or videos. Yeah, not so much. But yeah, I totally believe that. Well, my best speculation is that a craft with possibly 3 tall whites in it landed in their backyard, and these tall whites got out, and wandered about their backyard, and I think that's what happened. Absolutely.
It is the police call everybody will be talking about. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Denise Valdez.
I'm Brian Loftus. A family says something crashed into their backyard, prompting them to call 911, saying they saw creatures walking around.
Our 8 News Now investigators digging into this for weeks now. And tonight, our David Sharns with the video you will only see on 8 News Now. David?
Brad, Denise, sources telling the 8 News Now investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property. Now, before we show you that video, listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% not human.
Okay.
Well, the 8 News Now investigators obtaining video as officers then responded to the call you just heard. You'll see the officers also saw something in the sky that night, but the big question is, what was it, and is it all connected?
Leave her alone.
It's almost midnight on May 1st when a Las Vegas Metro police officer's body cam catches this, something flashing low in the sky.
911 emergency.
Minutes later,
there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Someone calls 911 reporting 2 large figures in their backyard.
No, I'm so nervous right now.
The 8 News Now investigators obtaining another officer's video as he's sent to the Northwest Valley home.
I have butterflies, bro. Everyone saw a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
By now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard, or?
They see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro blacked out that part of the video because it's considered private property. What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
That investigation turning up no concrete answers as of Wednesday. Whatever or whoever fell into that yard, long gone within minutes.
Oh, hey. If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So yeah, this is quite weird, Brian was saying as we're watching this story. Now, we've been in contact with the family in that video, and as you heard in that 911 call, they seem very reasonable and honestly quite scared as you heard them in the call. No, they don't seem impaired in any way. And whatever crashed by the time the police got there was gone, but sources say that there's really no dispute. Something was in their yard. Exactly what? We do not know.
I mean, it's so interesting. So, like, the Metro officer sees something, the neighbor sees something. I mean, so what could it be?
Well, we know that there are obviously a lot of military bases around this area. George Knapp covers a lot of that stuff for us on the 8 News Now investigators. We're showing you drone video from above that area. And we know, of course, Creech not far away, Nellis Air Force Base not far. I checked in with them. They say they are not involved at all, and we are waiting to hear from the Pentagon as well.
And you talked to these people. It seemed completely legitimate to you. And do you have any personal thoughts on maybe what it was?
Right. So it seems from talking to our sources that something happened. There was obviously some flash in the sky. A lot of people saw it that night on the night of April 30th, early in the morning on May 1st. Did that exact thing land in their yard? I don't know. but these people said they saw some SUV circling the area. Could this have been some piece of equipment that malfunctioned? Maybe they saw something and then someone came, I can't believe we're talking about this.
Right.
Someone came and
Picked
retrieved it from the backyard in the SUV. We don't know. This all comes as a former high-level intelligence officer, an Air veteran, was on News Nation talking about how there is a program where the government collects some unidentified objects. So this might be that. We just don't know. We're going to work to find out, though.
And
Brian
no
Green.
substances. They were looking with clear eyes. Goodness.
Very interesting.
Not big buggy eyes, though. Like
This is really unique. Thank you, David.
I'm here to tell you what happened to me on May 1st, 2023. I'm trying to explain the best of my abilities. This is not a conspiracy theory. I'm not making this story out for clout or fame. I just want to tell you what happened to me and my family. And I know some people are not going to believe this, but each person is different. So this is what happened to me. Keep in mind, this is midnight and I'm fixing a truck in my backyard. At this point, I'm only with my brother and I hear something fall from the sky. I turn around, the only thing I see is a big light falling from the sky, and moments after, I feel a big impact and a bang, sort of like a big impact fall. And me and my brother looked at each other and we were scared, but when the impact happened, it was sort of like a shock wave, like an out-of-body experience. So to say, when I tried to look at the object, it was all blurry, not my vision, but only the backyard area. And I hear thousands of footsteps around me, and maybe a couple seconds later, the blurriness was gone. And here's the footage of the body, the police officer's body cam, and here's the object I'm referring to, the light. Video. Here's a Ring camera video. You can hear the bang. This is around the neighborhood. So here's the video. So when that happened, the only thing I can see in the backyard is a tall creature, probably around 8-10 feet tall, very thin. So I called my dad. He went to the backyard and he saw the same thing, the same creature I saw. He told me to go inside the house. At this point, we all freaking out, me and my family. And here's the video where we were in the backyard area. You cannot see it too good, but on camera, but it's there. Here's the video.
¡Ay! ¡Permisor! Calmungarela, me canceles var eso. Cáelo, cherro, que chute. Cáelo, cherro.
Moments after the video, me and my brother went to go pick up my tools. Then my brother calls me, and he told me shakingly, "Look behind the forklift." So I look. Keep in mind, I'm facing the forklift, and then I see the alien
Forklift
creature.
is key.
So when I saw it, it was a tall, skinny, lengthy creature. He was a gray, greenish color, and when I looked at it in the eyes, my body just froze. Like the same experience as having sleep paralysis. Keep in mind, I'm staring at him, and I look at his whole body, and he has a weird-looking feet and a big face, and eyes, and you can see a big mouth. And I could hear his loud, deep breathing, and I could see his stomach moving. He would just stare at me. Seconds later, I can start moving again. And I start running towards the house. That's when I call 911, and here's the 911 call.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the police to come, and you could hear footsteps in the backyard area. And a loud whispering, like you could hear whisperings. We were in the living room area, and you could hear footsteps on the roof. So we waited a little bit for the police. When they arrived, they told me I told them what I saw, and they were kind of freaked out. Here's the body cam of the officer.
Now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard, or?
They see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro...
So they went in the backyard, and one of the officers pointed at the floor, and it was a perfect circle. Here's a photo of the circle I'm referring to. Keep in mind, 2 officers came in my house, and one of them started running to his car, driving around the neighborhood, asking passing cars if they saw a light.
What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
Goosebumps and freaking out. He started investigating that he told me his partner, she saw a light falling from the sky. He told me he believes me because her partner reported that she saw the same light as me. Now we're walking the front yard. Then the other officer came here. Here's a video of him talking to my family.
If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So,
moments before they left, one of the officers told me, if I see the thing again, to don't call him, just shoot him. And you can hear in the video. Here's the video.
If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So they left, and we went inside the house, and we started praying. As we're praying, you could hear a loud human-like scream in the backyard. This is what happened to me on May 1st, 2023. I hope you guys kind of understand what happened to me. I know it's hard to believe, but I saw what I saw, and it's kind of going viral. That's why I'm here to explain the story. I did an interview with journalist Doc Papa. I'm going to put his video in the description. I'm going to make a part 2 of the stuff that happened after May 1st, and thank you for watching the video.
All right, so Las Vegas alien from the mouth of the man who experienced it, and I got to say that a lot of what he said and a lot of what the evidence is points to potentially the video that we saw as being maybe considered authentic as far as those extraterrestrial beings being inside of the forklift. They said it. He said it. He said they were in. He said his brother said, "Look by the forklift." He said they had big heads, big eyes, and then he said big shiny eyes. As we saw in the video, you could see the eyes lit up as if they were glowing, and maybe that's what he meant by shiny, is glowing. But everything that he described is what we saw in the video. Everything that the witness described. So and that's why I still hold on to this video as being authentic. This came out, this was one of the first videos out there when the story hit that day. And obviously we saw some fake ones where they've done some CGI and things like that. This was not on that level at all. And it depicted exactly what he saw, not someone's rendition or what they may have thought it looked like, but down to his description to the police on the 911 call in person, and what you just heard him describe right here, it all lines up with what we saw in the video. So all I needed is for someone who has another form of the video, even the one maybe that shows this thing coming through the fence, because I've seen that one too. I've seen that breakdown as well. But this is the only one that really holds any water because the one by the fence, they didn't ever look towards the happen. They said they saw the beings, but they didn't see one sitting right next to them at the fence. I don't buy that one. I also don't buy the CGI one, the one that was obviously just a fake beast that they showed crawling through the grass. We know that one was fake as well. This one was the only one, and I would love to talk to the kid to have him verify or validate that. That's what I've been wanting to do since that video came out, since this was a thing. But they had went into hiding essentially. They weren't really talking to many people. So that, maybe that's something that can be done now that time has passed. I'm gonna have to look into that and see. But I would love to have him verify, like, hey, is this what you saw? Simple as that. Because if he says yes, then that is essentially video of an extraterrestrial being present on the ground on Earth. And it's bananas because it makes me also feel like the Dobby video, the one that we looked at before, is also authentic after breaking it down and not finding one person on the internet or on social media or anywhere. This went viral, millions of views when it came out. And there hasn't been one single person that has been able to debunk it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I had my own experiences where I've seen just one of those guys, and only in the daytime, though. I only saw him in the daytime, so I never saw his eyes shining. So I've seen him, I guess, 6 times. I've actually seen him, and I didn't see his eyes shining. However, he is 8 feet tall. The one I've seen, I've measured his height compared to what he was standing next to, and he's very close to 8 feet tall, and he behaves as those guys in the backyard behaved, those aliens in the backyard. My tall white friend behaves in the same way, very much the same way. He uses a lot of the same tricks. So, like the aliens, if you ever meet one, they have many tricks that they can use on you. Okay, so for one thing, you'll notice those humans in the backyard, they had guns. Well, I've never owned a gun. I don't carry a gun around with me, and that affects my intention and my intent. I'm not intending to shoot anything at any time. That's not, but if you walk out your backyard with a loaded gun in your hand, well, the aliens know that. They know you're carrying a gun. They can actually read your mind and your intention and everything. So they're going to take measures to defend themselves against bullets and stuff like that, which they can do. Or they can actually, I've heard that, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that they can explode a person's brain with their mind. They can actually kill a person dead in a fifth of a second. If someone raised a gun and pointed at them, the tall white its mind is powerful enough and fast enough to explode your brain in your cranium before you pull the trigger. Okay, they are extremely superior beings to your average human being by far. That's my, I'm speculating a bit there, but so in my case, I never had a gun, so they had no reason to fear me. And they know that. A tall white knows that because, they know what you're thinking as you're thinking it, really. And they can even put images into your mind, and sometimes called screen images or screen memories. They can put those things into your mind. So I've come to know my tall white friend is I'm kind of like his pet cat. So when my neighbor's pet cat comes over into my yard and I talk to it and I pet it and everything, that's very much like the relationship that the tall whites have towards me. they treat me like I'm their pet cat. Okay, and I don't mind saying that. I know I've had telepathic communication with the tall white, and his mind is quite amazing, amazingly amazing, very, very quick. And he and I had a short conversation, which took maybe 1.5 seconds. And we spoke back and forth to each other in 1.5 seconds. It just, the communication went back and forth like bing, bang, like that, right? Just really fast. And yeah, so yeah, I do believe that backyard alien story totally. And it's the young man's words really that impressed me most of all, is his words. And he's describing what he saw. And he always says, first he says he's 8 feet tall. Then he says, well, maybe he's 9, maybe he's 10 feet tall. Well, I say he's 8 feet tall because I've seen him standing next to something or next to an object. And I know he's within a couple of inches of 8 feet tall. And he is very long and skinny, absolutely long, skinny arms and legs and hands and feet, all long and skinny, kind of like a person stretched out vertically. He's very much that shape. And I also had a close look at his knee. My alien friend, I was looking right at his knee through a skin tight suit. And I thought, well, that's amazing. That's exactly like a human knee, except it's stretched out vertically a little bit, but it's got all the same lumps on it and the same tendons and everything. It's just exactly like a human knee, except stretched out vertically. So, when I put that whole story together with my own experiences, I have to say, yeah, they met the same aliens I've met, same guys, and would be interesting to just research people who claim to have seen one of these things and what they say and how they describe them and so on. And yeah, it seems to be the same ones over and over again. They're quite prominent on this planet, and they can go out and walk around if they want to, and sometimes they do, but they'll like there's stories of them going to Las Vegas or somewhere like that and dressing up like humans and trying to appear as humans and trying to enjoy an evening in downtown, Las Vegas or somewhere like that. Yeah, they do that. Their behavior is really quite understandable when you put it all together. It's they live here on Earth. They have their places where they live, probably underground, and I think of them as being like scientists. So they're kind of like an expedition, a scientific expedition to Earth, and they're studying humans and they like us. Like I say, I'm like a pet cat towards my friend, and so he likes me. He doesn't want me to die. He saved my life a couple of times, and holy cow! I mean, wow! I've had paranormal interventions which have prevented me from dying a number of times in my life, and that's why I'm still alive. Because I wouldn't be if there had not been these paranormal interventions. And in one of these paranormal interventions, my tall white friend showed up in front of my eyes right there. And I didn't die. Instead, I lived. I thought I was going to die, but he showed up and I did not die. So that's why I call him my friend. He obviously wants to keep me alive. This is new. I have new information. Okay, now I wanted to try CE5 because I never tried it before. So I studied up on it a little bit and I figured out, okay, this is what you do. I got the instructions on how to do a CE5. I followed the directions very carefully. I put a lot of energy into it. I meditated for a week and I did strong meditation on my one friend there, my tall white friend. I did strong meditation on him, directly at him, to him, saying, I asked him a question. I said, if I'm doing good work for you, please give me a sign. That was my question I asked him. I said, if you like the work I'm doing for you, if I'm doing the right thing for your purpose and my purpose, uh, which is to save humanity from causing their own extinction, of course. Uh, I meditated at him. I said, "Give me a sign." So, at the end of a week of powerful, the most strong meditation I could muster up, um, I went outside in the middle of the night. I looked up in the sky, and there was a bright flash of light, very, very bright. And after the bright flash, which even lit up the trees around me, it was very bright light. And after that subsided, I looked right at the place where the light came from. There was nothing there. I couldn't see any star or planet or anything there to make this light. And then there was another light which hit me right in the eye. And it lit up the trees around me, and it actually hurt my right eye. It was that bright. Um, and that was the sign. I took that as the sign that was sent to me to answer my meditations. I never before or since seen something like that in the sky, ever. Never seen that. And when the light subsided, I looked at the very place where it came from. There was nothing there. There was no orb, no star, no planet, nothing at all. And so I took that as an answer to my CE5. Okay, so I did a successful CE5, just one. I think I might have had another successful CE5, but I have to maybe test it a few more times and see if it works. But anyway, this is my latest research. In my latest research, I did a CE5 and it worked. So that's interesting.
It definitely is, and more to add to the table, Jim, and more to add to the legend of Jim, Bim Jim, who has been on the stage multiple times. Jim, I appreciate you for coming up, man, because you come up when no one else will. And, you're the icebreaker, and do appreciate you sharing with us here tonight.
Yeah, I popped in because you gave me a link. I don't want to phone you on my landline because I just it doesn't work very well, so
Yeah,
I don't want to phone your phone number. But if you give me a link, I'll pop in here. And
yeah. We'll be doing this more often. I'm thinking about, maybe a few times a week. Just trying to, now that I have everything working the way that it should with this new program, now I can kind of open up to doing more. So we'll be doing this again soon. Once again, Jim, I gotta thank you, man, for stepping up and sharing stories. You definitely entertained tonight, and everyone is appreciative of that, as am I. So next time, don't hesitate to click that link and come on in.
well, thank you, Rob. Very nice. I'm glad you have this available to me. Because I got a lot of stories to tell if people want to listen.
Hey,
For sure.
that's exactly it. Hey, anytime, Jim. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm gonna get to a couple things and wrap this thing up.
Okie doke. See you later.
Oh, yes, sir. Talk soon. Bim Jim. Bim Jim. Want to thank Jim for stepping forward because once again, it is not an easy thing to do, and because of that, you know, we gotta thank him. We gotta thank Jim. And I want to thank also everyone else for their love and support tonight. Let's see. Let me because I missed some of these super chats as we were going through what we were going through tonight. So let me take some time real quick and show some love. Because for the love you showed to the show, Adam B. I appreciate the love that you showed tonight, as well as becoming a member, which is awesome and appreciated as well. Flat Six for stepping in. I missed this comment, so let me read it now here. Hippo character collapse. Oh, so I think this program. I know you didn't type that in. I know you. It's reading. It's describing the emoji to me, which I think is weird. I wonder if there's a way to fix that. Appreciate your love and support, though. Apparently, it's a hippo character collapsing to the ground as his chair breaks, while the words "wrecked" appear above him. Got it. Appreciate your love and support, Flat Six. Maggie M10 as well. and it's describing hers too, which is just hilarious. Vibes surrounded with little purple stars. We do appreciate that here. Deb from Sacramento saying more live Rob G. Yeah, Deb. Now that and thank you for your support and coming in as well. Now that I got this thing, I took it off the system that was giving the problems. I put it on the other system that I have. This system is now doing double duty for this show and then the show I do with Spaced Out Radio. So as long as it can stay under it, which it looks like it can, we can get through successful shows is what I'm worried about because I have to raise the bar. So to have any hiccups is something that bothers me, right? Even though we get through it and we move on as if it didn't happen, it still bothers me. So because I want to make sure that we're putting up some quality stuff here. So the social dig will be back. Is a little more complex formula as far as presentation goes. And I'm real confident on that, and I can't wait to try it out. So I have it set for Thursday. Maybe I'll just jump on with it tomorrow. I still don't know. We may do another late night show here tomorrow. I'm definitely considering that. And as long as we have conversations, the conversations are really what would take us where we need to go. And I'll talk if I need to. I can talk, but at the same time, this is where I get to get the perspectives of the people who listen to the shows. You know what I mean? That's important to me because, as someone said, they appreciate. I think Skip to Malou said appreciate the stuff that I've done here and with Spaced Out Radio, and that is very I appreciate you showing that love and support, Skip to Malou. But as I let you know, I do all of this for you guys. This is really why I do it. I do it for the positive progression of humanity. That is exactly why we do this here. And let me go ahead and get ready to get us up out of here. Make sure my going home music is going to play for us here. Yes, this is it. This is it right here. This is the music that we go home to, right? Right here at the Social Dig. And, it's always appreciated when you have like-minded individuals that come together to have this conversation. The topic is just as important to you as it is to me, and vice versa. That's why we get along so well. That's why we have a great time. And it isn't always going to be like that for, a lot of the places that you go to out there. I know we all frequent different shows. I know we can tell who's in it for what. And I just hope you walk away with the feeling of how genuine that we are here at this channel, and the real goal for us, which is really to affect all of our grandchildren, all of our great-grandchildren, all the way down the line, all the descendants, right? By things that we talk about today and decisions that we make as a group today is really what helps us get there. So with that being said, it has been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. Let me make sure that you have the number for future reference. If we do the show tomorrow night, which it feels like we might, make sure you write the number down. Put it in your phone book. Why not? Just add it to your contact list. 856-843-3444. That's 856-THE-DIGG. If you're calling from outside the United States, that's 001-856-843-3444 or 001-856-THE-DIGG. Once again, that's a message line. You can leave up to a 3-minute message. Talk to me about your experience. You could send over some articles or documents that you came across, some good stories that we may cover here. Also, you can just call and say hello. Simple as that. Call and say hi. Lock me in. Make sure that I'm on speed dial, and reach out whenever you feel the need to. I'll be here, and I'm taking calls, right? So we'll do this. I want to make sure that I also update my list for members, because we had a new person join today, which is Adam B. Thank you, Adam, for being awesome and joining the membership. We really appreciate it. And you'll see it'll go towards making things better. The goal is to raise the bar here each and every show, which we will do. This is an old list, but Ann Joanne, the Beekeeper, D. Nunley, Maggie M10, Class 6, Miss Catherine Jones, Cosmic Joe Chronicles, Wes W. Decker, Still Proof 69, Polly Rodman, Frankie B, and now Adam B. I will be updating the list. Definitely thank everybody for coming through tonight, being awesome as usual, keeping the conversation going, moving the needle as we do that. Once again, it has been a pleasure hanging out with you guys, serving you as your host right here on the Social Dig Late Night Calling Show. We will see each other again shortly. Definitely appreciate your patronage, appreciate you stopping by. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Out of here, just like that. Positive progression in humanity. Remember that.